Well, you're talking about doing this as a 21, 22-year-old.
Yeah, I got into the game when I was 16, 15, really. But yeah, by 2021, that's when I was making like 10 grand a week, which at 20, I mean, it was like, I was like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do with my life. Like, is this, do I have all the money in the world? But yeah, no, I was like, but I knew it could always end. So I was I didn't go broke. Let me tell you that. That's not what took me out of the game. So that was the best quality that I had that really made me excel.
Do you think that was inherent?
Yeah. It's very uncommon, but it's necessary at that level. I'm talking about when you're dealing, whether it's 100 pounds of weed, which is a lot of weed back then, or it's, 20 kilos of coke. I'm talking about those levels where we're talking about like you're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars every couple of weeks, right? Like that level, you can't be at that level and not be trustworthy or not be of your word, because you burn somebody once, you'll never get, if you don't get killed, they'll just never deal with you again. And then you'll fall off, you'll lose your connect. Your business will quickly just fall apart, right?
That makes
you lose
sense.
all your clients.
I mean, it makes sense when you say it, but, and as grown men, we totally understand it. I mean, you run a business now, I run a business, and that's how you do business.
Everything is based off your word.
Yeah. If I don't have the money to pay you because I'm waiting on other money, I just pay you out of my skin. I pay you.
Exactly.
That's
Or you come to the person, I've spoken a million times with big time drug dealers on my show that dealt directly with the cartel plugs, whether that was Colombia or Mexico. If they lose a load, instead of running off, they'll go to Pablo Escobar. I talked to one of his main dealers, right? Guy flying coke in to the Bahamas and then transporting it. I mean, just drug lords, right? And he would go to Pablo and say, Pablo, I fucked up. I didn't fuck up, but they got 100 kilos. Pablo would say, whatever, let's just go again. We can always get more product. So, but if he had ran off, now
makes it look like he was involved even.
Exactly. And then he's got to send somebody to go kill him. And it fucks up the supply chain. So communication is key. And when I was dealing with Mexicans, when I finally got up to that level and I was dealing directly with cartel guys, it was like, we can always get more weed. So as long as the money, and I would always pay COD because I never wanted to be in anybody's debt. That's the other thing I was really good at. I hate debt. So even though I would go buy, say, 40 pounds, they'd be like, oh, no, we'll give you 100. I'm like, I just want to take what I pay for because, but even if I had done that and lost, got pulled over or my drivers got pulled over and they got busted with all that product, I could have gone back to them and they would have dropped another 100 on me. That's their mentality, is like, we can always get more drugs.
But putting you further indebted as well, which
that's
again and that's pure wisdom, whether it's happenstance or not. That's wise because again, nobody's got anything on you. That's the mob's whole tactic.
Yeah.
Is to work you to a point where they own you because you can't possibly catch up.
But not that I'm giving anybody tips here. If you really want to expand if I wanted to become a guy who, instead of buying 50 pounds at a time, was picking up 300 pounds at a time or 500 pounds at a time and selling 50 at a time to guys like what I was doing, I would have had to give out credit, because that kind of bankroll just most people don't have. Most people don't think like that. So I look back on it now because I did consider, I'm like, I want to be one of those guys that's making, I want to move 500 pounds a week. Like, I want to make millions of dollars a month. Like, I want to just blow this thing off the roof and then do my little 3 or 4 years Fed time. You know what I mean? And then just come home to like millions.
That's part of the deal.
It's part of the deal. Right. And that's what you would have got. Like, with no criminal record, you got busted with like 300-400 pounds of weed. Very normal at the time. I met tons of like truck drivers that were sitting in county jail with me. Like, I got pulled over at the border. I'm going to go sign for 3 years, do my club fed. You're not getting sent to Victorville for 400 pounds of weed. You're hitting golf balls
with no history. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I was like, for a second, I was like, maybe we should just push it there. But that's when I would have had to give out the 50, the 100, and I didn't have any backup. I didn't have thugs that could go collect it if I had to. I didn't have the stomach for having that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, that sounds extraordinarily risky. I mean, when we were doing undercover deals, I mean, that was almost the tip of you're fixing to get ripped when someone's like, let me get the rest of the money, or let me get some more stuff for you, whatever you're thinking. Hell no. Like, nobody's leaving my site right here, Right, and that seems like that would be kind of the lay of the land. But I understand from the other perspective, you're saying this guy's also sitting on weight. Yeah. And if he trusts you, he'd rather give it to you instead of sitting on it.
Because if I can pay for 25, that means you can move 25. You can move 25, you can move 50. So that's really how these organizations build.
You can certainly pay for 50 after you move 25.
Exactly. You have to build people up that way. It's like a bank. You gotta give out a loan to help the business grow.
That's risky though. And again, you're just an honest, ethical dude.
I was just wet behind the ears. But I did some fucked up shit though. Like when I was in the mud, before I like ascended to that level, like we would break into people's houses, because a lot of the big thing back then was like we get home from political science class, me and my boy, we were living together in Eugene, Oregon, going to U of O, where this whole thing really like ramped up. And the fucking door would be kicked in and the whole house would be turned over and all our weed stash got fucking ganked. That was very common. Or home invasion, someone would stick a gun in your face. So to get back, we would like go try to find somebody who was even more pussy than us. And we would try to do that to them. So like there was some shit that like I regret, the violence, never like shooting anybody or anything like that. But like, yeah, it was, I wasn't always ethical, but I never fucked anybody out of money that I was doing business with, and still have never to this day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but being like a victim, like, I don't know, that I feel bad, but at the same time, everybody kind of knew, because it was a criminal business, that's kind of part of the game, dude.
Yeah. And you're learning almost as a kid. I mean, it was like me learning how to bully somebody when I'm a 5th grader, because all the 8th graders at the bus stop are picking on this kid, and you think you want to, it's kind of part of a learning process till you figure out that's not you.
Yeah.
You kind of just jack with it a little bit. So
for sure. Yeah. And I knew quickly, I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel nice.
That's not your thing. And so you ended up getting swiped up. You moved up. I'll expedite the story a little bit so we don't get too hung up on it, but you ended up getting to the point where you were shipping stuff across the United States.
Yeah.
Linked up with
that became one of the last ways to make real big money as a middleman in the weed game. And when I say as a middleman, not somebody who's growing it. I'm just talking about somebody who's buying it from the growers usually, and then just giving it to a distributor at a markup. That's what the game was. And everybody, by like 2008, 2009, I started to see that. I'm like, everybody has a connect in Southern Oregon or Northern California, the places where they grow the outdoor weed, right? Whether that was
in proximity already.
Exactly. So every dealer like me has somebody, they don't need me, right? So, and so I had my closest friend who I built the business with, he just retired from the game. And so I was on my own, and I just lucked up, and I knew some people on the East Coast. These were like mafia kids. Well, the sons of mafia guys.
Right.
And they're all, the big thing back then was like having sports books, like online gambling before it was legal, and then selling a lot of weed and pills and shit. And these guys were like outside of Philly, New Jersey, and good guys, really fucked up, all of them have been through rehab. A few of them might not even be with us now, but always good to do business with. And so I started just one by one. Here, let me just ship. I heard people could send weed through the mail, but let me just send you one and let's run it. And it got through. And I'm like, okay, I think we have a route here. and yeah, that quickly escalated to like 5 pounds in a box times 4 or 5 boxes a week. So now, and I make quadruple, 5 times what I would make wholesaling a pound of weed in Oregon. That's what I make in, so if I can make $1,000 a point off of every pound I ship,
because your price, by the time you move that far, your price has gone up. Because
I get it for like 22 or 23 from my wholesalers, my growers, as we used to call them, and then I sell to them for 35. So after freight, cost, it's about 1,000, and that's minimum 25 G's a week. So now your boys, this is $1 million operation, and 25 is like, that's low. We can now I got guys, Dominican guys in Washington Heights, Manhattan. I got guys in Baltimore. I got guys in Ohio, black guys, moved a ton of weed. So now it's like, it went from like 5, 7, 10 G's a week to 50 G's a week.
How often did you face to face with these cats that you would connect with?
Almost never. Almost
Which
never.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, most of these dudes, the only guys I ever face to face with were the Italian kids, because our mutual friend, we had a mutual friend who introduced us. So me and that mutual friend, who was never in the game, still a close friend to this day. But I met them once, and I met the Dominican guys in New York once, and that was it. Everybody else, I would say, I would get introduced to them, and we were talking on a burner phone. And I'd say, all right, I'm going to send you like a half a pound. And if you run off, I'm going to give you the best weed in your market at the best price. So if you run off, it's like, whatever. I didn't lose that much, right? You fucked up because now you have to find another connect. So I never got ripped off. I never sent them shit and money didn't come back.
And they sent the money back the same method?
Yes.
Cash.
Cash.
Okay.
And look, it was, nowadays they'd be sending me Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was a little too early for that.
Yeah.
The big guys, what they do is they'll take a private jet and pick the money up, or they'll have a courier. What I was doing was a little, I want to say, rudimentary for the level that I was doing it. And it proved to be my undoing, because that's how I got caught. Was they actually never caught me with any product. They caught a box of money that was being shipped from the East Coast to me. So it should have been, that end of the business should have been a little tighter and a little more sophisticated. Things were moving so fast that it's like, if you can get me, I guess for 5 pounds, it would have been 40 G's. If you can get me 40 G's from Baltimore to Portland, UPS next day air, it's like, I don't know. I can't, what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's the most efficient way.
And I mean, you could still do it. I mean, there's people here in Texas that just will order it and they'll just send it USPS and just
happens
shows
all the time.
up.
DHL, DHL packages.
UPS, whatever.
You back then, you didn't even have to show an ID when you went to drop a box off at like FedEx.
I don't think you maybe
do now.
FedEx.
You do. Well, for
UPS,
FedEx,
you don't.
Really?
UPS, USPS, you don't? Because I've heard you say that before too. I'm like, man, I send stuff all the time. Not that stuff.
Right.
But
right.
I've
Coke.
I've never had to. Yeah. So you don't have to do that to vote or to send weed, right?
Right. Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. I still think it's efficient, because I used to get frustrated by those busts too, because they would say, hey, we're going to intercept this thing, meet with the USPS driver, and then we're going to pose as the whatever. And I'm like, I don't understand why you think that's incriminating. If someone sent me a box and it had my name on it, and then you kick my door in and arrest me because I opened it, of course I opened it.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
So I just thought there was so much plausible deniability. Now I wonder how you ended up getting tangled.
There's a lot. Like I heard about people that would get the box and then just leave it there for a couple of days. Like if it got to the spot, just leave it there. Right.
In case that
Obviously,
happened.
if they come through, hey, it's not my name.
Strange box.
Somebody sent me the box. It's not under my name, but it got to this address. I didn't know there was meth in it.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I had people drop the boxes off. I had a whole system. I had drivers going down to Southern Oregon to meet with the connects, bringing it back. I had a little assembly line at some kid who I paid to stash the shit there, and I would be overseeing them as they were. It wasn't naked chicks with their tits out. It was fucking unemployed college kids, potheads, and they would be, we had the food saver bags, and I had a whole system that we followed to a T. And so, I sent probably like, I don't know, at least 500 boxes, dude, and 96% of them got through. The money same way, probably a higher rate.
Yeah.
So and those are just the odds of the drug game, right?
Yeah.
It's high odds. It's just the law only has to be right once, as we know.